welcome to Hashtag IP Series with Rita. And I'm your host, Rita Amarichinda. What I do here is talk about intellectual property, recent cases and development, which could take the form of copyright, trademark, patent, industrial design, trade secrets, geographical indication, and plant variety. If this is your first time joining and listening or tuning into my podcast, thank you so much, guys, for taking out the time to listen to my podcast. And as for my returning listeners, you guys are fab. You are the best. Thank you so much for always coming back to listen to my podcast. Don't forget to favorite and subscribe to Hashtag IP Series on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple, Radio Public, and Pocket Cast. And with that, let's get right into today's episode. I'm so excited, guys. Okay, I'm back, guys. So on today's episode, I will be talking about trademark as an intellectual property, what business owners should know. And our case study is the Aunt Jemima change of name and logo to Pearl Milling Company. And I know during the pandemic, there were a lot of conversation as to IP and race. I even wrote one of the cases I referred to during my dissertation. While I was doing my dissertation, talked about IP and race and how race sometimes plays a huge role when it comes to most of the brands that you see. So if you know the Aunt Jemima product, it's like a pancake and waffle mix. They had to change their name because of some things that happened during the pandemic, which I will talk about in the course of this recording. So I hope you guys enjoyed. So if you have been following my podcast, either as a tweet or if you've been following Hashtag IP Series, I always make emphasis on how trademark is a source identifier or indicator. It helps tells the consumer what your product is about. It's also about how a consumer perceives your mark in question. It is protected by registering it under the relevant trademark law, depending on the jurisdiction you are, because IP and trademark as an IP is territorial in nature, and it's only the jurisdiction that you register your marks that you can enjoy IP protection, which gives you exclusive rights to use the mark and commercialize it and exploit, and you also get to enjoy legal backing and protection for your mark. You also get to prevent third parties from copying and doing any acts that are exclusive to you as the IP owner. Your mark can be registered in more than one class. It might cost you, but then it's just you trying to be proactive, having long-term goals and looking at the bigger picture when you eventually want to expand your business. The mark must also support the goals of the business, the objectives of the brand, which should have like a social and cultural impact on its consumers. Now, when it also comes to international branding, the owner must make sure that the mark created has no negative meaning or connotation in any language or cultural history that may be considered to be offensive, scandalous, and can lead to social media call out, cancel culture, which is like the theme for this the IP in the digital era. And also the owners would have to consider either canceling or changing the mark, which must be resolved before actually advertising the product. Now, Section 11 of the Nigerian Trademark Act provides that any mark that is considered to be deceptive, scandalous, shall not be lawful to be registered as a trademark or even part of a trademark Um, the marks that are easily accepted during registration include word mark, coined words, arbitrary words. This requires like high initial advertising investment about which will basically state the link between the product and the mark, suggestive words, and well-known um, marks. For instance, fanciful words would be Adidas, arbitrary would be Apple, suggestive would be the North Face, descriptive would be Pizza Hut, and generic would be chapstick. Forms of marks that can be registered. Make sure that you discuss this particular form of mark with your IP lawyer, specifically a trademark lawyer, before you commence any IP registration. Trademark basically could be the sign affiliated with your brand, the words, e.g., Coca Cola, Google, the letters HP, LG, BMW, numbers, 32, drawings, the Starbucks drawing. The thing about trademark as an IP is that the mark must be used consistently. That means you must have been using it regularly for commercial purpose according to Section 31 of the Trademark Act, else it will be taken off the registry. Now, another thing that you should take note of is that the mark in question must be distinctive in nature or even capable of distinguishing the mark. This is in line with Section 9 and 10 of the Nigerian Trademark Act. So I'm focusing more. So I normally use like foreign case and then bring it back home explaining how it's been done here in Nigeria, because I know I have listeners. Most of my listeners are Nigerian, so I want them to really be abreast with how the IP space works. A registered mark is valid for 7 years. You can see Section 14. And it's also subject to renewal. So it's not just to register it and go and see them. You also have to keep renewing it for the duration of time you're in business. And according to Section 23 sub 2, you'll be doing that for 14 years from the date of the expiration of the original registration or the last renewal of registration. So let's say, for instance, you got your mark registered, say, in January this year. By next year January, you should be thinking of renewing your trademark again, which is why I always make emphasis: have an IP lawyer and your retainer. Speak to them, talk to them, ask them what you need to do, not just to register your mark and go and say. It's like you doing a CAC registration and not filing your annual return. That's how it is with trademark and other IPs like patents and design rights. Now, subsection 3 of section 23 um, provides that when the last registration elapses, the registrar shall send notice to the proprietor notifying them of the date, and if they don't get any response or it's not complied with, the registrar may remove the mark from the registry. So I don't know how many people have gotten such notification from the trademark registry saying, oh, it's time to renew your trademark. If you have, do send me a voice note on Anchor and we can have a chat about it. But I did put up a poll asking people, have you ever renewed your trademark? And 75% said no, while 25% said they did not know. That's sad. Do you own a trademark? 62.5 said no. Why not, guys? I mean, come on. I think with what have been happening within the last 3 to 5 years, a lot of people should, especially SMEs, should start paying attention to their intangible assets. This is something that is going to generate money for you even when you are gone. Your heirs and your successors will benefit from what you've done. 25% said yes, while 12.5 said lorry hero. Anyway, I had eight people voted for that, but that's what the poll came up with. And this is how you know if your mark. So let's say you give a trademark agent something to register, and then he comes and say, "Oh, your mark hasn't registered." How you would know is that there'll be you see an R sign, the letter R beside your name or logo. If it's been registered, if it's not yet been registered, all you get is a TM. And if you're into or you render services, it's going to be SM. So what we do here in Nigeria is that we apply the first to file principle. First to file, now you go get the trademark. I mean, whereas in jurisdiction like the US and the UK is first to use. So quick guys, chop, try to register your IP before some other person will do that before you. Now back to our case study for today on how a business can change its name and logo according to the trademark law. Now, certain circumstances like the Black Lives Matter protest over the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery made a lot of brands in the United States to change certain aspects of their product because it was considered to have racist origin or the stereotypes linked to the names and logos. So if you've also been following the news, you will know that the officers that were responsible for George Floyd's death were recently convicted, which is like a plus for the United States. But you know, today we are focusing more on trademark. Now, as we know that trademark is a source identifier, so you can imagine identifying a brand name and logo with elements of racial stereotype. Now, if you see or look at the Jemima park, so you have a black lady smiling, and then it's written the original pancake waffle mix. In a publication that was dated 9th of February 2021 and published by the CNN Business, it read that Aunt Jemima finally has a new name. Now, how can a name or logo be changed in Nigeria? Let's get right into it. Now, in Nigeria, Rule 86 of the Trademark Regulations says that in order to change your business name or logo, you have to make an application to the registrar in line with Section 40, Sub 1 of the Trademark Act, which states that the registrar may, on request by the registered proprietor, enter any change in the name or address of the person who registered as proprietor of a trademark and shall be made in Form 22. Now, subsection 4 also reiterates what Rule 86 provides, while subsection 3 provides that any decision under this section shall be subject to appeal to the court. And the court in this case is the Federal High Court in Nigeria. You can also listen to a previous episode where I talked about reasons why your trademark application may be rejected. And that I did that when I talked about the Valentino Spiky case. Valentino have been for a very long time now trying to trademark Spike in line with their brand and shoes and bags, rock stored Spike and all those things. So you can check that particular episode out. Other cases that have been under the spotlight for having racist origin include the Redskin case. I did talk about that in my dissertation, which is the name of a National Football League's Washington football team, which is said to be derogatory towards the Native Americans group. Another example is the Uncle Ben's boxed rice, which was later branded to Ben's Origin. One interesting thing about this case is that the change of the name and logo of the company was recently, or rather, but on the 1st of February. The name and logo was first founded in 1988. That I'm talking about the Aunt Jemima case. The name and logo was first founded in 1988 by Chris L. Root, who said to have created the original ready-made pancake mix and was also called Old Aunt Jemima, Jemima, Jemima. Right, and this name will be launched in June. Now, key takeaway for me that I feel business persons should take note of is that they can always sell their intellectual property, be it copyright, trademark, patent, industrial design, and also trade secret. You can do this because IP is an intangible asset, and especially when your brand or the name has accrued value over the years through consistent use in commerce. That's when you can actually sell. So, you know, the Aunt Jemima product belongs to the Quaker Food North America, a unit of PepsiCo. Selling of an IP is one of the ways a trademark owner can commercialize and exploit her mark. Others include licenses, so you can license your mark. You can also build a franchise. So McDonald's is a big one of the biggest franchise in the world. I think it's among the top 10. I think whether between 1 and 5. I think that's where it's placed. But yeah, so yeah, today's this episode was rather short. I just wanted to tell you guys that it's very possible, just like how you can change your business name um, through the Corporate Affairs Commission. You can also do that when it comes to your trademark. If it's the name you want to change, your logo, your address, you can always do that by applying to the Trademark Registrar through your IP lawyer or IP agent. And so, with that, we've come to the end of today's IP series. If you learned something today, to let me know. Please also don't forget to share, like, and favorite my podcast, guys. It will mean a lot to me. Now, until the next episode, stay safe, guys, and be good. Lots of love. And we're counting down to our 1 year anniversary. Whoop whoop. Who's excited? I'm super excited. I have something for you guys. So if you really want to find out what it is, please listen to my next episode that will be published next week. Thank you.